Good evening, and everybody is welcome on today's talk. Today's subject is conflict management. Conflict management is a very important subject for the corporate. Everybody is facing this problem either in personal life or in professional life. Today we will talk about what is conflict management in corporates or at our workplace. Number one, we have to discuss emotional disturbance resulting from a clash of opposing impulses or from an inability to reconcile impulses with realistic or moral considerations. That is called conflict. Some more definitions we will discuss. A clash of interest, values, actions, views, or directions is also called conflict. Second definition is disagreement among people is underlying basis. When two people are not agreeing on one subject, that is called conflict. Some more definitions which are very common in corporates: an expressed struggle between at least two interdependent parties who perceive incompatible goals, scarce resources, and interference from the other party in achieving their goal, or a process that begins when one party perceives that another party has negatively affected or about to affect something that is the first party cares about. So this is the very common definition of conflict which we are facing in corporate. Third definition is actions, whether overt or covert, is key to interpersonal conflict. Because so many types of conflict we are facing in corporate or at workplace, until action or expression occurs, conflict is latent, lurking below the surface. So sometimes conflict is not coming out of the surface, that is lurking below the surface, but conflict is there. And this has become a very common subject in corporates. Second definition, which is more relevant and common in corporates: powers or attempts to influence inability occurs within conflicts if the parties really do not care about the outcome. The discussion probably does not rise to the level where we call it a conflict. It means they are not able to reconcile. When people argue without caring about what happens next or without a sense of involvement and struggle, it is probably a just of disagreement. हिंदी में एक बहुत कॉमन डायलॉग कहा जाता है कि मतभेद तो हो सकते हैं, मनभेद नहीं होने चाहिए। यह उन्हीं बातों को समझाने की कोशिश करती है। नंबर, characteristics of the conflict. Interpersonal conflict requires at least two people. Conflict within oneself or interpersonal conflict generally is studied by the psychologist. Communication students and scholars are interested in communication between people. It means conflict can be within or conflict can be with two peoples. Our internal conflict is more dangerous than outside conflict. Conflict inherently involves some sense of struggle or incompatibility of perceived difference among value, goals, or desires. When our values are not matching with our actions, there is a conflict. When our goals are not matching with our actions, there is a conflict. When our desires, our will is not being fulfilled, our desires not being accepted, then there is a conflict. So some characteristics are very common. Number one, values, goals, and desire. These three are very common. Now we will talk about levels and types of conflict. At organization level, there are three types of conflict. One is organization, within and between organization, one organization to another organization, or one person to another person, in one department to another department, one section to another section. There are n number of conflict stages. Number two, groups, within the group or between two groups. Take an example of process and maintenance. Take an example of marketing and sales. Take an example of HR and finance. So these kind of interdepartmental or intergroup conflicts are very common in corporate. Number three is individual, within and between individuals. As I have discussed, the within conflict is very dangerous. When we are having conflict in our thought process, that is more dangerous. And in between, there may be difference of opinion, then we can solve it. But every kind of conflict we have to resolve very carefully and very quickly. Here we can quote group conflict, intra-group conflict, or intergroup conflict. Conflict over numbers of the groups, early stages of group development, way of doing task and reaching group goals, intergroup conflicts between two or more groups. So this kind of group conflict we can understand. Second is the individual conflict. One is interpersonal conflict between two or more people, a difference in views about what should be done. Number two, difference in the organization or difference in orientation of work and time in different part of the organization. Second, individual conflict is intrapersonal conflict, occurs within an individual, threat to a person's value, feeding of unfair treatment, multiple and contradictory source of socialization. This is a very important area. Next is we have to discuss internal conflict. What I have do, what I have not do. This is my value, this is against my value. This is my ethics, this is against my ethics. This is company's value system, this is against the company value system. This kind of conflict we will talk in another meeting. Today we are talking about more and more on conflict of organizational. Number two is, the example is, unfortunately, this is how to brain works. What kind of thought process we have, what kind of upbringing our has been done, what kind of value system, what kind of belief, what kind of ethics I have. So this is internal conflict. Do not make impulsive decisions, overcome inner conflict quickly, so that you can take the correct decision in the interest of organization. Second thing is, what does conflict arise? Why conflict is arising? Number one reason is, no two persons are alike. God has not made any two person with the same nature, same value, same mindset, same thinking process. Never. I have seen so many examples, but I have never seen. Number two main reason is, see the things differently. If so many persons are working in the organization, the story of elephant is very popular. 4 blind or 5 blind persons who are living in a village. One day an elephant came to that village. So everybody want to enjoy the elephant. What is elephant or how we can see, because they never see any elephant because they do not have eyes. So one person, it's a speaker who was touching the teeth, and it's a snake who was touching the tongue. It's a fan who was touching the ear of elephant. It's a whale who is touching the stomach of the elephant. It's a tree who was touching the leg of elephant, and it's a rope who was touching the tail of the elephant. So they were having the different perspectives or different things. That is why they are talking differently. They are not having, but everybody was conflicting with another. This is an elephant. One is saying this is a snake, another is saying it's a tree, another third one is saying it's a rope. So this is the one region. Third one is prejudice. Sometimes we are so prejudiced with our value system or our belief, we are not accepting the reality, and there is a conflict. This is very common in our organizations. Number next is the belief, value, attitude, or different ideologies. Beliefs makes our value system makes our attitude. If we are not matching with the belief, values, and attitudes, definitely we will face the music of conflict. So this is another area where we can. Number next is different people to the problem solving, different approaches to the problem solving. Because my value system, my upbringing, my knowledge, my skill set, my competence is different with the another gentleman. So I have different kind of problem solving approach, and next one has the different kind of problem solving approach. Definitely it would be a conflict. Until unless we will not remove these things and we will not make one program, the organization will suffer. That is why everybody is making SOPs. To remove such kind of conflict, we should have the SOPs for every process, either it is a production related process, or is a maintenance process, or is a supply chain process, is a HR process, or is a accounts process, any process. There should be the written document to avoid the conflict. Number 6 is the poor communication channels. People are not completing, and we are not having direct communication, and in between some people are adding or removing some words or some sentences. That communication is poor. So we have to understand the value of communication to resolve the conflict. Number 7 is a competition for limited resource. Everybody knows there are limited resources. Every organization, people are fighting. Take an example, everybody is fighting for promotion. Only 5 to 15% people are getting promotion every year in every organization, and numbers are very big that the people are having the conflict. He is doing better, or I am doing better, I am performing well, my potential is higher. That kind of competition is always coming in the organizations. So we have to understand this. Like the difference in goals and values. The goal of marketing and the goal of production is entirely different. The goal of accounting or the goal of HR team is entirely different. Until unless they will not have the written consensus on one goal, definitely there would be a number of conflict. So we have to make one goal with the consensus to remove such kind of conflicts in the organization. Number 9, organizational interdepartmental friction. As I have discussed, production and thinking about production, maintenance is thinking about machine maintenance. Production is saying if you will not remove the breakdown, or you will not complete the breakdown in so much time, we will lose the production. That much production loss we cannot bear. This is one. Second thing is the finance is always understanding the language of money. HR always thinks the understand of emotions. Marketing is talking about strategy. Sales is talking about real how much money they are getting from the market. So many interdepartmental frictions are there. Until unless we will not have the written systematically approach, we will have the conflict on shop floor. Next is the conflict management. It is defined as the opportunity to improve situation and strengthen relations. because everybody is working ultimately for the organization, and we have to achieve the ultimate objective of the organization. That is how the business growth we can ensure and how we can increase the profitability with the minimum operational cost. So these things we have to understand. This is the one model by which we can remove the conflict very quickly. When the assertiveness is low and cooperativeness is low, we will use avoiding. When assertiveness is high and we are less cooperative, then we will have the conflict management style of competing. If we are having low assertive and we are more cooperative, high cooperative, then we will have the accommodating nature. Or if we are highly assertive or highly cooperative, then it will become the collaborating approach. And if we are having the mix of something, that is compromising. So this is the model. This is universally used to remove the conflict. Where we have to use, we will understand it this way. Where the concern for relationship and concern for winning. When concerns of relationship is high and concerns of winning is low, then resolution is accommodation. Where concern for relationship is low and concern for winning is low, this is avoidance. What is happening in the organization, we will see to it. We will bear it. Where concern for relationship is high, where concerns of relationship is also high, then we will be collaborate. We have to adopt the collaborative approach and we will do in the interest. Number 4th position is when we are having concern for the relationship low and concern for willing is high, then competition is higher. When moderately high concern for the relationship and moderately high concern for willing, then we are in compromise mode. So we have to understand whether we have to be in compromise mode or we have to have in collaboration mode. And we have to understand the nature of conflict. Sometimes we can be in competitive, sometimes we can be accommodative also. So there are a number of theories which we can understand. Conflict continuum, I win, you lose. This is competition. This is A box, which we have discussed. Second thing, I lose or give in, accommodate. Third stage is we both get something, compromise. Fourth is we both win, that is accommodate, we will. This is the column D as we have discussed in last slide. Next is outcome of the conflict, where self-performance is low and other performance is also low, then we will lose, organization will be loser. When self-control performance is higher, other performance is low, then we'll lose situation. Definitely the outcome will, I will win and another will lose. When I will lose and another will win, means other's performance is higher, my performance is lower, then I will lose and other will win. We should be always in win-win situation. Self-performance is higher, other performance is also higher. That is the good stage to remove the conflict very easily. 5 top strategies of conflict resolution. Number 1, do not ignite conflict. If any conflict is arising, we should remove that or we should resolve that immediately. Don't ignite the fire. Second thing is clarify what is the issue, because this is related to the communication. Sometimes there is a very big communication gap or poor communication in the organization where the gossiping is more, rumors are high. In those organizations, clarify what is the issue. Ask in writing, discuss with them, ask your queries, remove your questions. So clarify. Number three, bring involved parties together to talk. If you are working as a boss, so please call both the parties and resolve them. This is the major issue in the organizations when senior persons are calling the meeting, interdepartmental meeting, and revolving the interdepartmental conflicts. When people are having conflict within the department, then this is the duty of the departmental head. He should call both the persons and resolve the conflict. Number 4 is identify the solution. We have to identify what is the solution. Either we have to improve our working, or we have to improve communication, or we have to provide more resources. Whatever the situation is, we have to understand and we have to resolve, and we have to identify the problem first. Number 5 is continue to monitor and follow up on the conflict. What is happening in corporate up to 4th point, every leader is working. But 5th point is very important and very few people are working it. Once a conflict resolved, everybody will forget it. Everybody forgets it. Why? Because they do not want to follow up, or they do not want to continue to monitor the conflict, whether conflict is coming or not coming, whether that has been removed from the organization or that get resolved thoroughly. This is the failure. So this is the 5 points to resolve the conflict on shop floor very quickly. Next is theories of conflict management. Number 1 is the traditional theory. Conflicts are caused by troublemakers. The people think there are some 5-10% troublemakers in every organization. They always make trouble and there is no conflict. This is the traditional approach. Second is the conflict is bad. This is sometimes conflict is good also. Third one is the conflict should be avoided or surpassed. This is the very bad situation, but now this kind of situation are not coming. This is the traditional theory. Nobody is accepting this theory as on date in a professional world. Second is the contemporary theory. Conflicts are inevitable between human beings. It will happen because we have discussed 9 or 10 points. God has not made the same people. There is a conflict between values, ethics, beliefs, pure communication. Some other theories are also there. Number 2, conflicts are often beneficial. As I have discussed, sometimes conflicts are beneficial because you can get the right information or right impulse what is happening in the organization. One group will say something and another will say something. Some smart manager, some smart leaders are creating some intentional conflict on the shop floor so that they can get the right information on the right time. Third is the conflicts are natural results of change. This is another important area. Conflicts are natural. It will happen. And when we are talking about change, when we are doing something new, when we are innovating something, when we are creating something new, definitely it will happen because people are not used to how the frequent change in their life. Next is the conflict can or should be managed. Very true, it can be managed. It is very simple to manage. So these are the things, and we should shake the hand and we should enjoy the conflict. It will happen. So contemporary theory is more practicable as on date. People are using, they are enjoying with some little or some manageable conflict on the shop floor. Effects of conflict on an organization. What kind of we can get? Number 1, negative effects. Takes attention away from the other important issues when conflicts is running. Number 2, undermines moral and self-concepts. Polarize people and group, reducing cooperation because the groups will start working. Number 4 is increase and sharpen differences. It is very common. if you are not resolving the conflict of time. Number 5 is leads to the irresponsible and harmful behaviors such as fighting, name calling, and so many other activities. So this is one example where the tug of war will start on the shop floor and you will not able to manage the conflict. These are the negative effects. Now we will talk about the positive effect. Results in clarification of important problems and issues. Number 2, results in solution to the problems. Number 3, involve people in resolving issue important to them. Yes, very true. Helps release emotional anxiety and stress. This is a very useful tool as on date in service-oriented organizations like bank, insurance, and some services of manufacturing organizations, finance, human resource development, marketing, all these things. Number 5 is the build cooperation among people through the learning more about each other, joining and resolving the conflict. It is very common on shop floor between production and maintenance team or some utility team. They are understanding each other processes better, and then they can understand each other's point of view better. Number 6 is the help individual development and understanding the skill. So these are the positive side of the conflicts which we are using. And people are enjoying and people are developing like anything. Next is the competency required. What kind of competency required to resolve the conflict on shop floor quickly? Number 1, communication. Strong communication and good communication styles are very helpful. Number 2, team spirit. Everybody has to have the win-win situation on shop floor. Number 3, for problem solving skill. You should know what is the problem, where is the problem, why is the problem, who is the problem, and how to resolve it. So these are the problem solving tools, and we should know emotional agility. We should understand the people emotionally. Some people are highly sensitive, some people are not sensitive, some people are taking the small issue very sensitively, some people are not taking big talks in a sensitive manner, they are taking lightly and they are enjoying their life. Number 5 is stress management. You do something, yoga, some meditation. And number 5 is negotiation. Both have to negotiate. And both have to have some minimum common program so that organization can grow. So these are competency required, and these competencies are very essential to resolve the conflict on shop floor quickly. If somebody is missing, it means he is creating the problem for himself and creating the problem for the organization. So when you want to develop anybody, please develop these competencies. These are the soft skills, and these are very much required on any shop floor or any organization. Number tips for managing conflicts. I am giving some tips as always we are giving so that people can enjoy this session. Number 1, avoid feelings or perceptions that imply the other person is wrong or need to change. Number 1, try to understand the other's point of view. Number 2, communicate a desire to work together and explore the problem or seek a solution. Team spirit, the purpose of this. Number 2 tip. Number 3, exhibit behavior that is spontaneous and destruction free. We should check our attitude and behavior on shop floor, what kind of behavior we are, whether we are having positive behavior or we are loving the negative behavior. We have to check. If we are having positive behavior, definitely people will enjoy. If we are having negative kind of attitude, we will definitely be sided or we will sit in a corner. Number 50, identify with another team members' problems, share feelings, and accept the team members' reaction. Means try to understand their point of view first. Problem solving is a very good skill for any business leader, but listening is more powerful tool in conflict resolution rather than talking. Number 5 is treat other team members with respect and trust. This is another very important. Everybody should be treated with high respect and full trust. There should not be any place for doubt. Number 6 is investigate issue rather than talking side on them. Investigate what is the issue, why this problem is being ignited by anybody. So try to understand, go in the deep root and find out the real problem. So these are some tips to resolve the conflict quickly. I think I have completed within time. I think half an hour is over. Now you may ask your questions. Otherwise, my part is over.